Subscribe my YouTube channel, Blessed Billionaire.
Shalom, my friends. Let me ask you a question. When you hear the word retirement, what do you think of? An old man sitting on a porch, watching the sunset, too tired to do anything meaningful? A 401k statement that arrives in the mail once a year that you barely understand? Working until you're 65, hoping you've saved enough to survive on a fixed income while your body breaks down and your dreams fade away? That is not retirement. That is surrender. That is the world's definition of retirement, and it is a trap. Let me tell you the Jewish definition of retirement. We don't even have a word for it in Hebrew. The closest concept we have is Yovel, the Jubilee, the 50th year when all debts are forgiven, all slaves are freed, and the land returns to its original owners. It is not an end. It is a reset. It is a new beginning. It is freedom. True retirement is not about age. It is about autonomy. It is about reaching a point where you no longer have to trade your time for money, where you wake up every morning and you get to choose how you spend your day, not because you're old and tired, but because you're financially free. You can spend that time building businesses that change the world. You can spend it studying Torah. You can spend it with your family. You can spend it serving your community. The choice is yours. That is freedom. That is the goal. And here is the radical truth that most people never hear. You can achieve this freedom in 7 years, starting from zero. Not in 40 years, not when you're too old to enjoy it. In 7 years. I know this because I did it. I went from a broke yeshiva student with more debt than sense to financially free by the time I was 29 years old. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how I did it, step by step, using principles that are as old as the Torah and as proven as the laws of physics. This is not going to be easy. Anyone who tells you that getting rich is easy is either lying to you or trying to sell you something. This will require discipline. It will require sacrifice. Work, they spend, they save a little, they hope for the best. They are what I call drifters. They drift from paycheck to paycheck, from year to year, with no plan, no target, no vision. Then there are the dreamers. They have vague ideas about being rich someday, about retiring early, but they have no concrete plan. They dream, but they don't do. And then there are the doers. The doers have a specific number. They know exactly how much money they need to be free, and they have a plan to get there. Today, you are going to become a doer. Here is how you calculate your freedom number. It's based on a principle called the 4% rule, and it is one of the most important financial concepts you will ever learn. The rule is simple. If you have a portfolio of investments, you can safely withdraw 4% of it every year, adjusted for inflation, and you will never run out of money. This is based on decades of historical data and research. So, if you want to live on $50,000 a year without working, you need a portfolio of $1.25 million. That's $50,000 divided by 0.04. If you want to live on $100,000 a year, you need $2.5 million. If you can live on $40,000 a year, you need $1 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Rabbi, I'm starting with zero. How am I supposed to get to $1,000,000 in 7 years? I understand. It sounds impossible. But here is the secret. It's not about the size of the number. It's about the clarity of the target. Once you know your number, your brain starts working on it. Opportunities appear. Strategies emerge. This is not magic. This is neuroscience. This is what the Torah means when it says kavanah, intention. When you set a looking rich is easy. Being rich is hard. And you cannot be rich if you are spending all your money trying to look rich. This is year 1. Know your number. Commit to building wealth, not cash flow. This is your foundation. Year 2 is about laying the foundation. You cannot build a skyscraper on sand. You need a solid base. And in finance, a solid base means 4 things: eliminating bad debt, building an emergency fund, establishing good credit, and minimizing taxes. Let's go through them one by one. First, bad debt. Not all debt is bad. There is good debt and there is bad debt. Good debt is low-interest debt that makes you money. A mortgage on a rental property is good debt. A business loan at 5% interest that allows you to generate 20% returns is good debt. Bad debt is high-interest debt that does not make you money. Credit card debt at 20% interest is bad debt. A car loan at 15% interest is bad debt. A payday loan at 400% interest is a disaster. If you have bad debt, you must eliminate it before you do anything else. You cannot invest your way out of bad debt. If you are paying 20% interest on a credit card, you would need to earn more than 20% on your investments just to break even. And that is nearly impossible to do consistently. So, pay off the bad debt first. Use the avalanche method. Make minimum payments on all your debts, then throw every extra dollar at the debt with the highest interest rate. Once that is gone, move to the next one. Do not stop until all the bad debt is gone. Second, the emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash, sitting in a savings account, doing nothing. I know this feels like a waste. I know you want to invest that money. But trust me, if you don't have an emergency fund, the first time your car breaks down or you lose your job, you will have to pull money out of your investments at the worst possible time. These accounts allow you to either defer taxes until retirement, when you will be in a lower tax bracket, or to pay taxes now and never pay taxes on the gains. Either way, you save a fortune. Max out these accounts every single year. This is non-negotiable. This is year 2. Eliminate bad debt, build an emergency fund, establish good credit, minimize taxes. This is your foundation. Without it, everything else will crumble. Year 3 is about building multiple income streams. Here is a truth that will change your life. You cannot get rich on a single salary. I don't care how high your salary is. If you only have one source of income, you are vulnerable. You are one layoff, one economic downturn, one bad boss away from disaster. The average person today will work 12 different jobs in their lifetime. Job security is a myth. The only real security is multiple streams of income. Think of it like this. Imagine you are standing on a platform, and that platform is your life. If the platform is held up by a single pole, and that pole is your job, what happens if the pole breaks? You fall. But if the platform is held up by multiple poles, your job, a side business, investments, rental income, then even if one pole breaks, you are still standing. This is the principle of redundancy, and it is how you build an unshakable financial life. In the Torah, we see this principle everywhere. When the Israelites were in the desert, they were not dependent on a single source of food. They had manna from heaven, they had quail, they had water from the rock. Hashem provided multiple streams of sustenance. And in the book of Ecclesiastes, King Solomon, the wisest and wealthiest man who ever lived, writes, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, or even to 8, for you know not what disaster may happen on earth." He is saying, diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Build multiple streams. So, how do you build multiple income streams? You are. And here's the most important part. Every dollar you make from your side hustle, you invest. You do not spend it. You do not upgrade your lifestyle. You take that money and you put it into assets that will grow. This is how you accelerate your path to freedom. This is year 3. Build multiple income streams. Start a side hustle. Invest every extra dollar. This is how you multiply your income. Year 4 is about creating passive income. Up until now, you have been trading time for money. You work an hour, you get paid for an hour. But there's a limit to how many hours you can work. There are only 24 hours in a day. If you want to get rich, you need to break free from this equation. You need to make money while you sleep. You need passive income. Passive income is money that comes in without you actively working for it. Now, let me be clear. No income is truly passive. Everything requires some work up front or some maintenance. But the idea is that you do the work once and you get paid over and over again. This is the difference between being a worker and being an owner. A worker gets paid for their time. An owner gets paid for their assets. There are 3 main types of passive income that I recommend: stocks, real estate, and online businesses. Let's start with stocks. The stock market is the easiest and most accessible way for the average person to build wealth. You don't need a lot of money to start. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to be consistent. My strategy is simple. I invest in low-cost index funds and I turn on automatic dividend reinvestment. An index fund is a basket of stocks that tracks the overall market. When you invest in an index fund, you're essentially buying a tiny piece of every major company in the economy. Over the long term, the stock market has returned about 10% per year. If you invest consistently, reinvest your dividends, and leave your money alone, you will become wealthy. It is not exciting, but it works. The second type of passive income is real estate. This is the holy grail of wealth building. When you buy a rental, it can generate income for years with minimal maintenance. In the Torah, there is a concept called ma'aser, the tithe. We are commanded to give 10% of our income to charity. But there is a deeper principle here. The principle is that money is meant to flow. It is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to circulate, to be invested, to grow, to bless others. When you create passive income, you are creating a system where money flows to you without you having to constantly chase it. You are building a river, not a bucket. This is year 4. Create passive income. Invest in stocks, real estate, or online businesses. Build systems that make money while you sleep. This is how you break free from trading time for money. Year 5 is about scaling and optimizing. By this point, you have multiple income streams. You have passive income flowing in, and you are starting to see real progress toward your freedom number. Now it's time to pour gasoline on the fire. It's time to scale what's working and cut what's not. In the Talmud, there is a teaching. Tafasta meruba lo tafasta. If you grab too much, you grab nothing. This means you cannot do everything. You must focus. You must identify the 20% of your activities that are generating 80% of your results, and you must double down on those. This is the Pareto principle, and it is one of the most powerful concepts in business. Look at your income streams. Which one is generating the most money with the least effort? That is your winner. That is where you need to focus. Maybe it's your side hustle. Maybe it's your investments. Maybe it's your real estate. Whatever it is, you need to scale it. Hire help. Automate processes. Invest more capital. Do whatever it takes to grow that income stream as fast as possible. At the same time, you need to cut the losers. If you have a side hustle that is taking up 10 hours a week and only generating $500 a month, that is $12.50 an hour. That is not a good use of your years, so you have something to eat during the bad years. This is the principle of protection. You must prepare for the inevitable downturn. First, you need insurance. Health insurance, life insurance, disability insurance, liability insurance. I know insurance is boring. I know it feels like a waste of money. But insurance is what protects you from catastrophic loss. If you get sick and you don't have health insurance, you could lose everything. If you die and you don't have life insurance, your family could lose everything. Get insured. Second, you need to diversify your investments. Don't put all your money in stocks. Don't put all your money in real estate. Don't put all your money in one business. Spread it out. The Talmud teaches Yehei shelishit bekarka ushelishit beperakmatya ushelishit beyado. Let a third be in land, a third in merchandise, and a third in cash. This is 2,000-year-old advice on diversification, and it is still true today. Third, you need an estate plan. You need a will, a trust, a power of attorney, a healthcare directive. If something happens to you, your family needs to know what to do with your assets. This is not morbid, this is responsible. This is love. This is year 6. Protect your wealth. Get insured. Diversify. Plan your estate. This is how you make sure you don't lose what you have built. Year 7 is about the transition. You have reached your freedom number. You have enough money invested that you can withdraw 4% per year and live comfortably without working. Congratulations, you are free. But freedom is not the end, it is the beginning. Now you have a choice. You can retire in the traditional sense, you can stop working, travel the world, relax on a beach. Or you can do what I did. You can use your freedom to build something even greater. You can start a business that changes the world. You can dedicate your time to charity, to learning, to teaching. You can become the person you were always meant. This will not be easy. You will have to work harder than you have ever worked. You will have to sacrifice. You will have to say no to things your friends are doing. You will have to delay gratification. You will have to become a different person. But at the end of 7 years, you will have something that most people never have. Freedom. True freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time. The freedom to live life on your terms. So, here is your challenge. Right now, before you do anything else, calculate your freedom number. Write it down, commit to it, and then take the first step. Pay off one debt. Open one investment account. Start one side hustle. Just take the first step. Because the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And remember the words of our sages. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin lehibatel mimena. It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you free to neglect it. You don't have to become a millionaire overnight. You just have to start. You just have to take the next step, and then the next, and then the next. 7 years from now, you will thank yourself. Shalom, and may you be blessed with wisdom, with discipline, and with the courage to pursue true freedom.